If you're a Sec 4 Emath student, this is why you can still fail your overall Emath grade even though you are doing very well in your Sec 4 Emath right now. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but I see this as a very dangerous pattern that gives a lot of Sec 4 students false confidence when you're doing well in Sec 4 Emath, because by the time you hit your prelims, all the topics that you have learned across the 4 years will be tested, which is a far greater component than what you are just learning in your Sec 4 Emath this year. And therefore, I wanted to take this opportunity to remind you that in your Emath syllabus, you are not only tested on the 5 topics that you learned in Sec 4, but in fact, you're also tested on the other 40 to 45 topics that you have learned from Sec 1 until Sec 3, depending on how you count it. Now, the Sec 4 Emath syllabus primarily covers 5 to 6 chapters, right? Depending on how your school schedules it, but primarily from everyone, it's just 5 chapters. And these 5 chapters, if you look at the O-level syllabus, right, how often were they tested? Now, every single year, the amount of marks allocated to these 5 topics changes, but if you just look at last year alone, matrices wasn't even tested. Vectors only came out like a 2-mark question, and I know that only 2 marks came out because I took the same paper that last year's cohort took as a private candidate, and I scored A1 for the paper as given. And surprisingly, probability came out quite a few times, as well as data analysis. But apart from that, the majority of the marks all came from your Sec 3 as well as your lower secondary algebra. But at this time, a lot of you are not focused on your lower secondary topics, right? You're just trying to survive your Sec 4, which is definitely understandable. But this is your sign to not get too overconfident, because majority of your marks still come from understanding your basic algebra, your algebra manipulation, your special algebraic identities, as well as all of your Sec 3 topics, starting from chapter 1 on quadratic equations all the way until the last chapter on circles. And if you don't spend the time during the June holidays to revise it, you will find yourself super cooked by the time you hit prelim, because prelim covers the whole suite of chapters. So this is why Sec 4 students can still fail Emath overall, even though it seems on paper that you're doing well in Sec 4, simply because the topics that you learn in Sec 4 only cover a super small percentage of your overall marks in the prelims and the O-levels. And during the June holiday, these 30 days can really make or break your grade, which is why in my online learning portal, the Library of A1 Math Academy, I personally film video lessons for every single chapter from Sec 1 all the way until Sec 4, so that you can log in any single time during the June holidays and revise on a daily basis. There's clear structure inside the portal where each chapter is one course of its own. There's clear signs of progression, and more importantly, you know that you are on the right track with your revision as long as you follow the roadmap that I gave you inside the portal as well. So if you're a Sec 4 Emath student who recently did well or did not do well for your WA, don't let this be a sign to start getting cocky. You need to start revising your lower secondary topics as well. And if you're looking for a structured, proven way that's helped many students, as you can see on the screen over here, also scored A1 for all of their lower secondary topics, then watch this video next to find out how you can get your hands on this online learning portal. So if you're still struggling with your basic Emath concepts, or you already understand your basic Emath concepts, but you want more practice questions, more examples of the type of questions that usually come out in your exam, what I've done is that over the past 3 years, ever since I started tutoring, I have been creating this huge resource called the Library of A1 Math Academy, where I literally reteach you the entire syllabus from scratch. And not only that, but I expose you to all the different type of questions that can come up for every single chapter and give you the solution to every single question. So for example, if we take a look at this one Emath chapter in Sec 3 called indices, right? I literally film every single chapter from Sec 1 to Sec 4, right? So the whole entire syllabus. And if we go under syllabus over here, you see that I have broken down every chapter into 4 modular portions. So the first one is where you can download all of my handwritten notes, my solutions. You can just click on the PDF and download it. The second portion will actually bring you to the part where I reteach you the entire chapter from scratch, starting with all of the basic fundamental concepts. So if you just click on any fundamental concept, let's say the idea of laws of indices, right? Under the laws of indices over here, there's quite a few laws, right? I go into each law very in depth, as you can see on the screen over here. Every single law, I list it down for you nicely, and I make sure to go super in depth to show you how it's actually being applied. Not only that, but I also go through all the usual exam questions that you will see, right? So for example, if we click on just here, right, the first question type, I give a video solution to every single question, and you can see I also give the PDF answer to every single question, right? So when you get your hands on this resource, you are really getting the full support, the full fledged of resources to support you throughout your whole Emath journey and to help you score the A1, even if you don't attend my classes physically in person. So if you like more information about this library and how you can get your hands on it, just WhatsApp the number on the screen over here, and I'll send you more details over there. And I look forward to seeing you on WhatsApp over here.